Hello and welcome back to Satisfactory. Wild Fox McGee here. Today we are going to continue where we left off at the end of the last episode. Between episodes I went and collected a bunch more wood and a bunch more leaves so that our fuel production line is now humming along. As we see, we got lots of wood, lots of leaves. This will slowly generate fuel, which will accumulate down in this bin over here, which we're slowly getting. Now, let's build our first power plant. So between episodes I also laid down some more concrete. Now we're going to build 6 biomass burners. One of the handy items in the game is you'll notice there's a little plus beside everything in the builder. If I click on this, it'll give me a number. Now I can either manually add or type in a number. In this case I want to make 6 biomass burners. That's usually what you're going to need for your basic starter base to get enough power to get going. I'll pick up the other ones I created temporarily early, and generally as a rule of thumb I do not use the ones that are in the hub just because they tend to be away from everything, and I tend to like to keep my biomass burners near my fuel factory. So what I'm going to do is just lay them out on a simple grid, lined up with each other, kind of. So you'll notice when the green line appears like that, it means it's centered with the one across from it. So I'll just do that quickly. Really nice, kind of nice simple grid layout. I could have turned these around, but it really doesn't matter. Now I'm going to create some power lines. So I'm going to put one between each. Quickly power all this up. I am not going to fuel or activate these just yet. I'm going to let my other bio burners run out of fuel and let this fill up a bit more. I want to have 200 for each of these biomass burners when I turn this on. It'll take a while to build up, but we actually got enough going right now. I can see how much fuel I have left. I actually had temporary refill these. So we've got a bit of time. So while we're waiting for that, we'll work on the next objective, which in this case will be to get the MAM. So this will give us another hand slot item, the MAM, object scanners, beacons, personal storage, and more inventory items. So let's select this and get it going. I pre-made the screws, because you don't need to see me messing around with screws. We're a little short on wire, but luckily enough we're making some down here, so we'll just run down and grab some. This is why you always want to have things going, because you never have enough at this point of the game to do everything you need. And that completes that objective.
Milestone reached. The molecular analysis machine, referred to as the MAM, will allow R&D to provide new technologies, items, and buildings based on samples collected in the field. To ensure a greater chance of success during exploration, an upgraded tool belt has been provided, as well as an object scanner and beacons. Note: the object scanner requires calibration via the MAM to enable detection of specific objects.
Okay, now I'm going to show you what the upgraded tool belt does, since this point is very useful. You'll notice before I didn't have another slot here to put the chainsaw in, so I had to pick whether I was using the chainsaw or the zapper. This can be very inconvenient because we can't attack anything with the chainsaw, just as my power goes out. So once you have it in the extra slot, you can use wheel mouse between your items. Also gives you a way to keep things out of inventory. And now, since this power is out, I'm going to clean these up and get our main power online with whatever we got. Because at this point, we're going to need it. So you guys have a little bit left. I'm taking them out. And we'll see what we got left over, how much it produced. And then divide that by 6 generators. So we should be able to get 100 in each. Give me one sec here. So if you want to split a stack, if you right click, it'll split it exactly in half. I'm only going to get 5 up and running right now. That'll be more than enough. That's one more than we had before. And I'm actually going to split off. If you hold down the key, it'll let you pick the amount you want to split. So I'm going to split off this 6. I'm going to keep that for the chainsaw so that I can go get more wood later. And then I'll load these guys up. It's always best to load all your fuel at once, because then they all run out at once. It's good and bad, but if you always have your fuel factory going, it means you only have to come back here when everything needs it. Now we have quite a bit more power. And this is already filling up again. I'm going to keep the 6 on me. So now, ma'am. You would normally set this up next to the hub, which I am going to do, because the hub is not staying there now. I'll let him land first. So, let's build an area for them. At this point, we're going to move it a little further back. One thing you should always note when you're building the hub is it always needs access to the sky for our little transport buddy. And that should be good. Let's grab the hub and lay it back down over here. There we go. Now I usually put my MAM next to the hub, which I'm a little short of stuff for. Let me just empty out the stuff I've got for later, which actually I'm going to need fairly shortly, and make the other things we need. So I'll make everything we need to make the MAM off camera here, and be right back. Okay, now we've got enough to make the MAM. I'm going to put this right here next to the leaf box. Then I'm going to grab our stuff that I have ready for research. And see how much we can get done.
The remains of this creature might shed light on how to increase chances of survival. A new research tree can now be accessed in the MAM.
Now MAM will go crazy.
This semi-slug seems to emit unfamiliar energy readings which could potentially be retrofitted into fix-it technology. A new research tree can now be accessed in the MAM. This is one of multiple edibles we have detected in your vicinity which are within approved nutritional and medical categories as established by R&D. A new research tree can now be accessed in the MAM. Pigment could be harvested from these flower petals and turned into dye. A new research tree can now be accessed in the MAM.
Okay, it's almost done. I'm letting you hear all the
Data
new
shows
trees.
this is a mix of sulfide and sulfate minerals. It could be an indication of recent volcanic activity. A new research tree exploring volatile self-defense applications can now be accessed in the MAM.
Okay, I'm going to go through all these quick and how I just unlocked all those trees. So alien organisms gets unlocked when you kill a creature. So, and then you get a quick research, which after I kill 10 more of these guys,
unlocked.
I can now, once I get this,
New research available in the MAM.
I can then turn these carapaces that we get off of the creatures into biofuel, which is actually fairly useful at the start. Now, I did kill something off camera that gave alien organs, so I'm going to just do that quick. Next time I see one, I'll record it for you. This one you don't need as much. All the creatures that drop this are way harder than any of the creatures that drop carapaces. So that's our first foray here. Once we get down, we have different items we can get. So I'll go out and try and kill some creatures. I'm just trying to get all the quick ones out of the way. If you find flower petals, which you get from picking up stuff, that's this section. And that unlocks this and allows us to make the color gun and the cartridge thing. I will need some screws for this, so I'll come back to this a bit later. Now we can research all the nutrient stuff that we've been picking up. After you do these researches, you can find these with the scanner,
New object added to the object scanner.
which I will show you a bit later. The object scanner is not the greatest, but it's good to know how to use. We haven't found any mushrooms yet. The next thing to research is power slugs. So first time you find a power slug, this gets unlocked. This will be important, as this gives us underclocking and overclocking, which I'm going to start after I do all the quick research items. And slug scanning, but this is more important. And sulfur, this allows us to scan for sulfur, which I found some earlier in a node, which I showed you. And eventually this lets us get into gunpowder.
New
We will
resource
not be
added
able
to
to
the resource
do
scanner.
anything with gunpowder until we get to tier 3 and 4, which we will have to complete our first space elevator part for. So let's go into power slugs and get this going. Then we'll run the overclocking. The color stuff is kind of neat, but it's not really important right now. And now I'll drop off. Actually, what I'm going to do here, since I have a bit of coal, is put a personal storage box next to the MAM. I usually do this for anything I know I'm going to need for the MAM or ongoing things at the moment. So I will need this stuff at some point in the future instead of keeping it in the box here. And this box I usually keep for things just that need to be hung onto and there's no other place for it. In this case, just some biomass I have. So, well, the MAM's running on that. Let's start on our next tier item, which will be part assembly. So, I'm going to have to make a bunch of stuff off camera for this. We should have most of this around. Let's just take a look before I go off camera and see how far we're along. So I need 200 rods, 300 plates, a bunch of screws, which I'm going to have to make because I don't have screw manufacturing set up yet. So I'll take all those rods, so we're going to be short rods, but by the time I make the screws, the rods should be done. And we definitely have enough plates and not enough cable. So I'm going to put all this stuff in that I got right now on me, and then I'll take some time and make everything else off camera that we need to complete this. So, be right back. Okay, one of the things I realized while I was hand making stuff, I think it's time we built a screw factory, because hand making screws is a pain in the ass. So, let's upgrade this. I'll pick that liner up, pick this belt up. That's our rod line. Should have enough concrete now to get this part done. I'm going to turn this all into rods and screws. Miner back down. I'll put down 2 smelters. I'm short wire, which I will go grab. We'll be doing it just like the one beside it. Oops. Splitters. Orange to green, green to orange. Good rule of thumb. In you go. In you go. In you go. So switch you guys to, no, not to copper, to iron. I am then going to use that iron I picked up just to fill these up, just to get them started, because it'll take a few seconds for this to come online. I'm also going to do another power pole line. That one will come off of there. I'll have one here. Go on these two smelters. And I'll put my power pole here because I realize I'm out. If you haven't noticed, when you click on a power pole, it shows you how many connections are still left on them. These guys are ready to go. I don't know if I have enough constructor stuff. See here in a sec. I need to build 4 constructors here. Each smelter with 30 30 ingot production. We'll be able to run 2 of these to make rods. I make 15 each. This will be our new rod line. Put a splitter in. And I'm missing stuff. Actually, I have enough for splitter. Find out if this is out of alignment. This is out of alignment. I'm gonna quickly go get some rods. Clean this up on the way. And as you can see, I'm slowly making it so all of our outbound boxes are near the hub. Didn't really plan it this time. You should try to plan it a bit better than this. I tend to build very organically, whatever way things end up being. That's how they end up being. But pretty tight here. Power pole here for these 2 guys. And off they go. Green is good. Let's see how much concrete I have. This will be our screw line. To make screws, though, I am going to have to make a couple things for constructors, so I'll be right back. Okay, I am not going to move the other miner just yet. I'm going to just finish setting up the constructors I'm going to need for screws. So, should be enough room. Maybe, no. Yeah, I'm going to have to move this. We don't need the plates from here right now. I have another line making plates. So I'm just going to let you finish up with this iron I have on me. Okay. Need a little bit more room for screws. Because the way screws work is each one of these constructors is going to make 15 rods. However, when you make screws, you need 10. So I'm going to have to split the line of 3, sorry, the line of 2 into a line of 3. The way you do that is you merge and split. So what I'm going to do here is first put down a merger. Then I'll put down a splitter, which I'm going to probably put right about here. This is a bit... Actually, I'm going to move this and make this a bit more neat. So if you put the merger here, and put the splitter in front of it, and belt this all up. Here we have a situation where things are not lining up. As I built these centered on each other, so what I'm going to do is just move this over. Sometimes you just gotta, I don't know, wing dingle your way in through getting this done. Power back up, put this back up, it's good iron enough. Splitter. Start another line of power poles. And we're going to build our constructors for our screws. Just have enough. That's our screw constructors. Now put down some power poles. And then we'll create a storage container for all of this. Already probably going to move the hub again, but yeah. Now, there, screws are set up. Here, I'll give you guys a bit of perspective of how far we've come. Fairly quickly, actually. Limestone, copper are to be rebuilt. Temporary, I'll leave that mine open for when we have our assemblers. We've got our plates, rods, and screws all being made. And I'm just looking at it all right now, and it looks like our screws are backing up, but that is to be expected because we do not have the right belt to merge that into one storage container at the moment. We need Mark II belts, which we'll be getting soon enough. And then this one belt here will need to be upgraded because each of these make 40. So 40, 80, 120 screws a minute. Does not fit down one belt that does 60. So I'm going to grab some of these screws because we need the screws anyways. I am going to fill up this constructor just so we get rid of some of these iron ingots I have on me. And I am going to do a little bit of off-camera work so that I can get ready to have our 500 screws so we can start part assembly. Be right back. Okay, now we have everything we need for part assembly to complete it, so let's check this in. So we can start looking at the assembly.
Reached. More complex assembly of parts can now be automated. Project assembly parts can now be constructed and sent up via the space elevator. Note: project parts are too complex to produce by hand.
Thank you, Ada. So here, now I'm going to show you the codex I mentioned in our first episode while we were going through this. It'll show you how to make parts, equipment, or whatever. If I just wanted to look this up, I don't have to put down a assembler or whatever I need to make. So I know that if I want to make reinforced plates, I need plates and screws. Well, I have a line of plates over here, and I have a line of screws here. Unfortunately, they're not lined up the best, but we'll just windingle some way to get this to work. This happens a lot in the early starter bases. Nothing's really planned out yet, just because you have to make things as quick as you can. Although I might use this to make my plates and to make my parts I'm going to need to make the other part, which is made in an assembler, the rotor. Rotor is, again, screws and rods, both of which I have here, but we might just set this up to make it out of here, especially considering this particular miner is not doing anything at the moment. So let's clean up some of these power poles. Put down some more foundations, pick this guy up, let's get ready to do it. Now, unfortunately, there's a big rock here, but we'll just work around it. And I'm short a bit of concrete because I used it to build some foundations. Let's see if we got a little bit here. So you're going to produce 60. That's 2 smelters, which I am going to probably put this way. I'm going to probably have to wait for the concrete to build all this out. There's our 2 smelters. Now we just need our splitter. Start another line of power poles. Set these to iron. Okay, that is now started. I'm going to plan this out a bit, but I'll do that off camera. I'm not going to hook these up just yet. I don't want to have a swamp of material I got to deal with just yet. And this is going to have to move. So I'm going to just do this temporarily. That's the next thing we're going to rebuild is the copper, so we can get cable and wire. Right now we're just making wire. And we're going to need both. Just going to run across here, see if I got more concrete. So we can begin setting this up. Give me a minute here. I'll come back once we get a bit more. Once I get a bit more organized and ready to go. Okay. Let's get this going. What I'm going to do is we're going to build one assembler line for making reinforced plates. So that's going to take that entire one mine. First things first, we're going to see if underclocking is available in the MAM, because we're going to need this to do this line. Now, while that's going, I'm going to see if we can do the other power slug. We're a little short on a few things, so I'll come back and do that a bit later. We're going to need to build, to make this work, this end, a few constructors. So we're going to turn these lines into a 15 and a 45. So I'm going to put down three constructors here. 1, 2, 3. This one is going to go into this constructor. Well, I guess if I put them the right way around first. And things are getting in the way again. Okay, so let's try this again. 3 constructors. This one's going to belt straight into there. And this one's going to get split. Now I'm a little bit short on the room here because the way this is all lined up is we're short concrete. So here. And that's out of cable. Let me grab some more cable. But before that, I'm going to show you how we're going to set this up. So this guy is not going to get 30 ingots an hour. He's only going to get 15. So I'm going to set this to 50%. So it's producing the plate at the ratio we're going to need, which I'm going to show you in a second. I'll show you this entire line when it's done at the end, so you can see what's going on here. Give me a sec here, let me fix this up and I'll be right back. Okay, now we're back. We have some more cable. So we have 3 constructors. Next, I'm going to have to make 60 screws a minute. So that's going to take another 2 constructors from these guys. And I'm short reinforced plate. Of course, I will be back in just a sec. Okay, now we got the parts we needed. I put down the constructor. I'll show you how this all hooks up. So we're going to take 15 rods and make 60 screws. If I didn't put the constructor down, that. And to do that, we're going to set this guy to screw. I'm going to set these both to 75 so they load balance a little better. So we now get 60 screws a minute coming out of here, which I'm going to quickly put down another row of concrete. I can merge this. One line of 60. Then I've got my 2 plate factories, which I'm going to merge here. And then what I'm going to do is put down our new assembler, which I'm actually going to loop back just so I don't have to, maybe not, put it right here. So I'm going to turn this around like this and make a nice little loop here. Now, one of the things you can do is you can turn your conveyor poles with your wheel. So you can make nice straight belts like this. And try to be on target. That's ready to go. Make the plates we need. I'm not going to bother making this straight. And now we just need to hook all this up. And I'll show you what we're making. Here, we're going to make all of this to make 5 reinforced iron plate a minute. We're making 30 plate with our 2 constructors and 60 screws per minute with our constructor set up this way. So we're using all the resources from that one mine to make 5 reinforced plates per minute, which we're going to deal a lot of going forward. Now I got room to put a storage bin down for now. After I go get some more rods. Be right back. Okay, now I got some rods. Let's put down our storage container. In the meantime, the power went out. So we'll go over and refuel. And we'll probably call the episode here. Between episodes, I'll refuel, make some plates, and you can come take a look. But before you go away, I'll show you how far, how fast, our little starter base is going. So, reinforced iron plates all being made over there. Screws, rods, plates, power, concrete. We'll be redoing our copper in our next episode. Thanks, and